You might assume that whole brain thinking is automatic, and for some people it is, but for most of us it is not. Instead, one brain hemisphere is dominant and the other is recessive. Under this arrangement, the dominant hemisphere feeds consciousness and dominates the process of thought. The recessive hemisphere feeds the dominant hemisphere. This leaves us largely unconscious of the contribution of our recessive hemisphere. It's as if we were looking out at the world from one side of our brain. The effect dominance has on our thinking is profound. Although the hemispheres are similar in many respects, in terms of information management, they see and do totally different things. Their viewpoints and reactions complement one another. This situation creates two fundamentally different kinds of people and polarizes us. We see the effects of brain dominance played out in life when, under identical circumstances, one person is aggressive and selfish and another is passive and unselfish. These behaviors reflect fundamental differences in how the two hemispheres serve us. The complete dominance of one side of the brain over the other has its benefits. Brain dominance creates specialization and diversity. But if you are communicating with people who understand both systems of consciousness and you only understand one, you are at a disadvantage. The good news is that if you have a recessive hemisphere and have not yet learned to consult it, you harbor a treasure waiting to be discovered. The way we think is rooted in a universal system of design known as genetic dominance. From two options, genetic dominance creates four options. So, for example, the two systems that operate the hemispheres and help us think become four. The left hemisphere can dominate and serve as our base of thought. The right hemisphere can dominate. The hemispheres can integrate and work as a team to gather and process our information, and they can integrate into a hybrid system. Although one, and often two, of these four systems will default to give us a viewpoint and generate thoughts, nevertheless, we are free to consult any of the four viewpoints. For more information on the two integrated systems of thought, see my YouTube video, The Brain's Four Operating Systems. Another factor that affects what we think is the collective brain. The collective brain is the product of the left and right hemispheres of our various cultures. The brains of our friends, families, co-workers, and other teachers. The prevailing collective consciousness or zeitgeist. Thus, even if dominance recesses one of our hemispheres, its viewpoint is still widely available from the collective brain, though this leaves us trying to understand thoughts produced by a system of perception that we usually don't understand very well. Neuroscience tells us that the two hemispheres are similar in many respects. This has led to the belief that there is very little difference between them. But neuroscience has also found that the two hemispheres are dissimilar in certain respects, and I mentioned an important example earlier, their viewpoints. Like the eyes, the hemispheres view reality from different angles. By using different viewpoints, the brain, like the eyes, is able to achieve three-dimensional perception. But that's assuming both hemispheric eyes are sufficiently open. The systems that operate the hemispheres give us our viewpoints and generate thoughts are sometimes described as dual and non-dual. Dual systems give us a locally oriented viewpoint. Non-dual systems give us a globally oriented viewpoint. Our locally oriented system gives us focus and directs our perspective inward, allowing us to view the details. Our dual system helps us differentiate and discriminate, a process of exclusion. In contrast, our globally oriented system is omnidirectional, which makes it outward-looking. The view it gives us is often referred to as the big picture. Our non-dual system perceives the unity of things. A non-dual viewpoint is inclusive. Most people experience the dual in their left hemisphere and the non-dual in their right hemisphere. I'll summarize. Most of us inherit a condition in which we are conscious of the contribution of our dominant hemisphere and unconscious of the contribution of our recessive hemisphere. This arrangement tends to hinder our ability to fully appreciate recessive system thoughts. Plus, a recessive system is the dominant system for about half of the planet, so this situation complicates our ability to communicate. If we are to have peace and think with the whole of our brain, we need to understand and appreciate both systems. Access to our recessive system starts with a simple recognition. The systems that operate the hemispheres complement one another. They are not competitors. Nevertheless, the thoughts they generate sometimes appear to take us in opposite directions, and this can polarize us. But much of our suffering is the product of a massive misunderstanding. Through education, we can escape many of polarization's negative effects. Remember, brain dominance is a default experience. We are free to change the way we think. The complete dominance of one hemisphere over the other programs us to explore life starting from one of two mental base camps. What can we do to enhance the connection between the two? How might we access the hidden treasures of our recessive hemisphere? In my next video, How to Achieve Whole Brain Thinking, I assist you in cultivating this valuable skill, a skill I have had to learn myself. Achieving this skill is also the purpose of my book, How Whole Brain Thinking Can Save the Future.